I don't wanna write this down. I wanna tell you how I feel right now.
What's good? Let's give it up 100. This episode is about DMX, one of the greatest rappers easily of all time. One of the most consistent rappers, one of the most substance-filled, music-wise rappers, you know what I'm saying, of all time, period. DMX, man, coming out, when I first heard about him, I was just immediately addicted to everything. His voice, his music, the type of subjects he was talking about, the fact that he was deep and he seemed like he put all his emotion and all his creative spirit into his music. You know what I'm saying? I was a big fan of DMX right out the gate. You know what I'm saying? DMX's first album, It's Dark and Hell is Hot. This album, when you look at the album cover, you see him with no shirt on, and it's like a reddish type of background, and that's symbolic. That's very symbolic. Of course, at the time, me being what age I was young. I was like probably 12 or 13. I didn't know about how the industry works and how artists has to come in and pretty much follow the way of evil in order to have a thriving career. I didn't know that as a kid, but now looking at it, you see the red in the background, and all that red symbolizes some form of sacrifice that he had to do in order to have the success that he had, which he had great success on that first album, It's Dark and Hell is Hot. It actually did over 3 million, I believe. And it debuted at number one on the Billboard Top 200, which is big, major, especially for a debut album, you know. So DMX immediately was stamped. And then he go and he dropped another album called Flesh of My Flesh, Blood of My Blood. That same year, this is 1998. And that album actually also debuted at number one. So DMX was just immediately on top of the game as soon as he came out. His second album, also the album cover, is a little bit more revealing. This album cover is a little bit more, kind of bold and revealing, in what's going on, and him showing you symbolically what he did, from the picture on the album cover, which the album cover is him covered in blood and standing there, just looking like he just pretty much lost the most sacred thing to him. And, it just looked like a sacrifice, straight up. He's covered in blood, and he's, just the look at him, the look on him, just looking at him, he just looked like he just lost something so, so sacred, that you ain't supposed to lose, but he did what he had to do. And it's no surprise on the album, there's a few songs. There's one in particular, I'm gonna get the name in a second, where he actually said, I sold my soul to the devil, the price is cheap, it's cold and it's level and it's twice as deep. Um, I'm gonna get the title in a minute, but yeah, that's that's a bar from one of the songs. So he pretty much told you what he did, and he had to because X is somebody that wears his emotion on his sleeve. So he wants you to know DMX ain't from the jump, from the beginning. He's just been a raw type of person. He wants you to know what it is. It is what it is. Fuck what you think. I did what I did, and it is what it is. So, and it's been other rappers that's said it on songs that they sold. Artists like Eminem, Snoop Dogg, it's a few of them. It's probably a lot of them that has told that they sold. You know what I'm saying? And people just look over it. People think it's just lyrics, but it's more than that. All right. So DMX became just a strong presence to fucking be respected. You know what I'm saying? His third album, and then there was X, something like that. That did like 4 or 5 million. So X was just that nigga in the game. You know what I'm saying? The most interesting rapper, the most unique rapper, the most raw and gritty rapper there is. You know what I'm saying? even throughout that era of hip hop where a lot of rappers was gritty and street and, grimy and all that, DMX stood out the most, in my opinion. You know what I'm saying? And the industry at that time gave him all the light. It's funny, later on, they switched from that type of sound and look into some, more lollipop ice cream shit. But at that time, DMX, the style that he had, the industry actually gave him the spotlight, you know what I'm saying, for having that style. And X just ran with it, you know what I'm saying? He did movies and Belly, when he did Belly, he at that point he could do no wrong. The movie was like an A plus, A plus movie. You know what I'm saying? Um, it was just something that fit his personality real well. The character fit him real well. DMX is a great actor. That's another gift, another talent. I ain't gonna say gift, but that's another talent that he has down packed. He can do real good. You know what I'm saying? Very consistent at acting. All of his movies are great. And that's another feel that you see these artists, once their career start to thrive and do very well, they go into the industry of movies also, because that's it's like a connection. Once you have a connection in the industry from being successful, 'cause once you start to get successful, you're going to have these connections. You know what I'm saying? You're going to be put on these shows, these TV shows, these prime shows for kids. You know what I'm saying? You're going to be put on these late night shows. You're going to be put on the daytime shows and all that. So DMX got put in these movies and he did very well. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, throughout his success, he went to jail a lot of times. And the reason DMX was going to jail all that time, it wasn't because the industry couldn't back him up and all that. It was actually because the industry was actually trying to shade him. They wanted to kind of kick him to the curb a little bit, but he was still relevant. You know what I'm saying? His career was that potent with people. People respected him that much that even when the industry was trying to get rid of him, people still, was buying, his records that was coming out that wasn't even on big labels. So they kept him a little bit relevant, even though he was going to jail and messing up in the industry, was shading him, making him look crazy. You know what I'm saying? And DMX always make hints in his music that he's trying to get away from the life of evil. He loves God, right? He always says he loves God. He always had songs, excuse me, that indicated his love for God, you know what I'm saying? And him trying to shame the devil. He always does that in his music, regardless of the fact that he told us that he sold his soul. Regardless, he's still trying to be a stand-up man for God and turn his back to the devil. And in real life, this is something that he's also trying to get victory for in real life. He was also trying to fight off evil and, be a righteous man. But of course, the drugs that DMX is known for taking, obviously, if I ain't say it the whole video, everybody know DMX smokes crack. And that takes a lot away from him. That put a lot of demon in him and take away from his inhibition to want to do the right thing for himself and be the best person and be the best father and all that. He ended up leaving his wife, or his wife leaving him. His wife he been with for so long. They pretty much came up together throughout his whole career. Like, he met her a little bit before his career started. So his wife left him. His son had that issue with him. They was on national TV dealing with it, you know what I'm saying? And, he was just looking not good in the media, you know what I'm saying? And this is what the industry itself really was doing to DMX. You know what I'm saying? They used the fact that he smokes crack and, he's going to jail and all that. They posterized that in the media to make him look crazy. Every minute you've seen a mugshot of DMX and all that. That's the industry doing that to him, you know what I'm saying? So DMX has tried his best to either just become an artist that is rapping solely about God and not about the industry, or just get out of the industry altogether. And he cannot get out of the industry because once you sign up for a certain thing, that is certain contracts that you just can't get out of. It's certain contracts that don't expire. A lot of them sign lifetime contracts for the industry to be industry puppets, to do and live for the industry. A lot of them did that, and they cannot escape it, no matter how they feel, no matter what they do. That's why you see a lot of them trying to say, now I believe in God, now I want to turn my life over to God and all that. But then they still got to go drop an album. They still dropping an album in a couple weeks or a month from now. And while they're dropping this album, they're not even talking about God. This is how you know they're still hooked up to strings to the industry. You know what I'm saying? You see DMX started to switch from, being that gritty, grimy rapper to talking about, he had a whole album that was based like him out in the desert because he was living out in Arizona, and he had the album based out there where he was just talking about God. I'm ready to meet him. He was just making a lot of songs about I'm Ready to Meet Him was a song that came out on a early DMX album, but he was making songs out there just, like gospel rap songs for God. You know what I'm saying? Because what I think was going on at that point in DMX's life was those demons that was living inside his body from him selling his soul and doing what he did was really becoming real aggravating. You know what I'm saying? Really aggravating to the point where he can't sleep and live with himself unless he can shine some light of righteousness, some light from God. Until he can get some light from God, he just can't do it because those demons are fucking torturous. This is what I think was going on. Like I said, DMX has always make indications that he loves God in all his music from day one, but he got to the point where he made a whole album about God because at that point, those demons was really taking full control of him, man. He needed some light, and that light can only come from God. So you want to dedicate your whole music, your whole creative spirit to God at that point. That's why he did that, in my opinion. You know? Just recently, he came home from jail. And I was talking to people about this, and a lot of people think I'm crazy. I was trying to be funny or whatever, but I'm dead serious. If you look at this DMX that came out of jail, the body type of him. Now, of course, when I say that, people are going to say, oh, he just gained weight. He just got fat. So what? People gain weight every day. I know. I'm not just being simple and talking about his body weight. Like, come on now. I'm talking about his facial structure, his personality, his demeanor about things. It seems similar of DMX, obviously, because it's not going to be, obviously that it's not DMX, obviously. He's going to be similar. But overall, if you really study this new DMX, it just doesn't really seem like X, man. And with the technology of cloning, very real, very much exists. That's a fact. It's not a wild thought to say that DMX could be a clone walking around. I made a video about Jalen Rose. If you haven't seen it, you can scroll down my channel and watch it. About Jalen Rose at the NBA Finals being stuck, frozen, looking like a wax figure. It really wasn't Jalen Rose. It was a clone. I made 2 videos on that. That video, other people made videos, got mad hits, mad views, mad attention. A lot of people know about that shit. Jalen Rose is a straight up clone. There's another one. There's a few of them. And there's one on Kanye West as well. Because if you know what Kanye West was before he went into that facility and what he was after he came out that facility, you can put 2 and 2 together for yourself and see that a lot of these dudes are actual clones. They're not their real selves. Same with Gucci Man and Dave Chappelle. He's another one I believe is not in true self either. It's not his true self either. Just look at the personality, the demeanor. Not stop just being simple and looking at body types and the fact that they gain weight. And how ironic is it that they all gain weight? Most of them just gain this weird weight that they never had before. Or if they were big already, they just come out real skinny like Gucci Man. And Gucci Man, on some real shit, there was a letter from some inmate in jail that said that some nigga I think was trying to rape Gucci Man. Gucci Man stabbed the nigga died. And because of that, the jail probably killed Gucci Man over that. This is from an inmate, and giving up that type of information cannot do anything for that inmate. I don't see how that's gonna get him out, right? Because at the end of the day, they know what the fuck happened. If you're gonna give information that they know already, what strength do your information has? Like, what, you know what I'm saying? Like, what value does your information have if niggas already know what it is? I'm just giving examples, man. I don't think the DMX that you see out here right now, you know, I just seen him doing a new video with the locks and all of them out there. He got a dark shades on. He just looked like a poser, man. He just looked like somebody else. I don't know, straight up. My spirit just telling me DMX ain't DMX. I don't believe it, man. And I was a fan of X just like any other person from day one coming up throughout the years. You know what I'm saying? I think they cloned DMX, straight up. I don't think he's with us, man. And it's sad to say, man, because X is a real unique type of dude, man. Definitely not a follower. Definitely not somebody you could say he stole this nigga's style. It's crazy how people are saying DMX actually stole Tupac's style. Like, are you fucking smoking crack, nigga? What is your problem? X and DMX, X and Pac is nothing similar. That's two different type of everything. Nothing similar. Two different minds and way of thinking and all that. You know, two different dudes that stood for two different things. It is what it is, man. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, DMX, we don't have DMX no more. It's not DMX. We can only appreciate the X from the past. Y'all can't be looking at this person they got out here right now posing to be DMX as such, because it's not. It's somebody that's put there. It is a clone. The real person is probably dead. Who knows? But it's not DMX. That's it. Get over this clone, man, and move on. You know what I'm saying? That's it, man. I appreciate y'all for listening to another one, man. Everything is coming from the heart. This is all freestyle off the top of my head. This is me just giving a summary from what I know over the years of DMX. This is it. That's it, man. I appreciate y'all for tuning in. I'm going to talk to y'all next time. I'm out.